millennial who's found her voice and is an avid Pan-African. I have two things to say first. Number one, Professor Pielo, I watch your videos. I love the Pan-Africanist in you. You have inspired me in many ways that you can only imagine. Number two, after you've spoken, honestly, I don't think I deserve to be a chief guest. Because with so much knowledge and experience, what is this 32-year-old lady going to say right now? So I think my anxiety is like on. Anyway, let's give him a round of applause because you have ignited the flame in some of us, and we hope to get there. Distinguished guests, I don't have a speech, and the reason as to why I don't have a speech is because the elements in me want me to flow through this session. And that's what your book has done for me. I think, Sakina, this is the second time we're meeting face to face, and honestly, I'm happy. I'm happy because mental health is not something a lot of people take really seriously, including the government when I was serving, I'll tell you that. And a lot of us go through a lot of things. We just had the session with Nerissa. I don't know if she's left, but I felt something. Hi, I need you to tell me why I felt so much energy in my stomach going upwards. I don't know why while I was listening to you. Maybe it's because I drink a lot of water, or I don't know. But it's things like that that we take for granted. A little bit about myself and as to why I think that's the reason why Sakina wanted me to speak. I have been a mental health advocate since the age of 24. I was born and raised in Mombasa, in a community where, you know, girls like me do not become the girl who I am today. And that is fierce, very articulate, very straightforward, but at the same time very vulnerable. And so growing up, finding my way, finding my voice, going to university, and this is where a lot of young people face a lot of mental health issues. I lost a couple of friends through suicide when I studied in Malaysia. But at that time we didn't know what it was. Some of my friends committed suicide because they didn't want to go back to their hometowns because they didn't want to get forced into marriages. Others committed suicide because of love. And then others, it's because of financial distress. But I went through a period of sexual abuse in university, and I couldn't tell anyone because, you know, I'm from a Swahili community, I'm a Muslim. How am I even starting to tell my family something like that? And if my community finds out, then I'm going to be disqualified and no one's going to marry me and I'm expired goods and yada, 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 yada. So I went through post-traumatic stress disorder throughout university. Then I moved to Berlin, I went to do my master's, and something triggered, and I remember fainting in my apartment. It was on a winter day. And again, I couldn't tell anyone. I don't know why, but I think when it's built in you that the traumatic experience, you always have to come off strong, I kept quiet about it. But as I kept growing a year older, I realized that I got more interested to read about the human brain. So I'm not a scientific person. In fact, I'm a diplomat and a communicator. But I kept on reading about how the human brain works, about what are the things that can help you through. And I found myself coming up with solutions to my own problems. And so from that, it went on to being a voice for others. And each time I went to Mombasa for holiday from university, I used to have small events. I think there's a lady here, Zia. She came to some of my events, and I used to have sessions with her as well. And I used to create those events for women to speak up, because I realized that in most of our communities in the African sphere, women were not allowed to speak up. So you find women going through issues where some of them, their family members are abusing their children. Some of them, the husbands are abusing them, and some women also abuse their children and their husbands. And so I created that. But I think because of intentionality, manifestation, and God having His own purpose, when I was 29, and I was fortunate enough to be in the government at the age of 29, I used that opportunity to now be a national mental health advocate. And I created a campaign that touched more than, I would say, the youth sphere, where we would now have small campaigns, online, offline. I used to share about my experiences when I work in the government, and I can tell you it's not easy, especially for a young female from the coastal region who is not married, since marriage is seen as a symbol of leadership in some of our African and even in the whole continent. And so I would wake up in the morning and record videos and tell people, today I don't feel like it. And I would cry sometimes. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see pages of me crying, and people are like, oh, she's looking for attention. But no, I was not looking for attention. I was trying to pass out a message that it's okay not to be okay. You can have your big job title, you can be the billionaire, you can wear the most beautiful outfits, and you can have the best shoes as men, and own the best real estates and whatever it is. But something inside you sometimes feels dead. And sometimes you feel alone, misunderstood, and you hate yourself. Someone talked about the body. Your body is the vessel that carries you, and you need to forgive it. But sometimes we hate that vessel that carries us. But unfortunately, because of how mental health is not a capitalistic issue, we don't shed light on it. And I think Elements of Us highlights that if you don't get in touch or be in line with your elements, then that capitalistic mantra in your head is going to have nobody to fuel it. If you don't take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit, you're still going to be walking with this vessel that is empty and broken and honestly very sad. So I just want to encourage everyone to really look deep within yourself. So I think mine, added on to all the magnificent speakers that have spoken today, it is, let's normalize mental health. We're such a young country, we're such a young continent, but it is unfortunate that we are dying. I received so many heartbreaking videos on my Instagram. Young people are slitting their wrists in my DMs. Others are asking me to help because the income that they have, or because they finished university and they don't have a job. Others are scared of speaking. They've been abused, but they can't speak because if they do, their chances of getting married or even being accepted in the community is 0 to none. And so if you belong in such communities, if you belong in such families, please normalize mental health. Be kind to one another, because as it is, life is hard, including the taxes that are around. It's insane, you know, but we move. You see, I made people laugh, because it's not that serious sometimes, okay? And so, Sakina, I wish you the very best. And I would like to say that if Aga Khan, if you would like to use me as a vessel, please do. Because we need to normalize